What's up, YouTubers? Today we're going to be sharing an incredible story from South Africa by Scelo Mncube. This is an incredible story by Scelo Mncube. He is sharing his personal experience on how he wrote a book entitled I Was Raped and You Were Born, My Mother's Letter That Nearly Killed Me. It's a shocking story from South Africa which made headlines around South Africa, which inspired many to actually get the book. So today we're going to be listening to an interview that he did with East Coast Radio in KZN, unpacking the incredible and wow story of this book. So we're going to be listening in right now. So stay tuned, share this incredible story. A lot of people will be inspired by this.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm also fantastic, thanks.
So I have your book here in front of me. It's called I Was Raped and You Were Born, My Mother's Letter That Nearly Killed Me. So let's just get straight into it. So how did you actually find out that you were a product of rape?
All right. First of all, let me take this opportunity and greet all the listeners of East Coast Radio and greet your producer there. It's a long story, but I will try by all means to cut it short. You know, Scelo Mncube is a young person, young guy, grew up in a place called Tuzuma.
Okay.
Niyegwa Mashum.
All right.
I grew up with a single parent.
Okay.
Growing up, I had no challenges, no difficulties in my life because there was my mother.
Yes.
Who took care of me. You know? And then unfortunately she died 2006 while I was 13.
Okay.
And now when she died, this is what happened. We were living, she was renting a two-roomed house.
Okay.
So after she died, the landlord came on the third day after she died, after we buried her. And then he told us that he needs the money for rent. Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't have money to pay for rent. So he told us that after 3 days, if you can't pay the rent, and he is coming to close his house. Then he did it. We were coming from school. When we got to the house, it was locked.
Wow.
And everything that belonged to us was put outside. So that's where things in my life started to be hard. That's where I faced hardships. So by then I'm living with my 2 siblings.
Okay.
So that time, the younger one was 3 years old. The other one was 11 years old.
Okay.
Fortunately, they had their parents, like their fathers.
Okay.
So they went to their father's houses. You know,
okay.
I was left stranded, and then that's where I lived on the street from 2006 till 2009.
All right.
Now, after we were evicted, I tried to call and communicate with my mother's sisters, but they were nowhere to be found, you know, because they moved to Eastern Capes and other moved to Joburg. So life was hard because I was doing my grade 8, you know.
Okay.
So I found myself on the street from 2006 till 2009. You know. Now, when we come to the part whereby you ask, how did I find out? At school where I was studying, they said to me, we want to have proof that you cannot pay your fees, but can you bring something that will show us that you're really an orphan and you cannot pay your fees? So it's I had to go back home and look for my mother's. No, I had to go back home, in fact, because I took my mother's belongings to my sister's houses, on their father's houses.
Okay.
Once there, I looked for a death certificate. Unfortunately, before I found the death certificate, I came across a letter that was written in big letters saying, I was raped and you were born. When I opened the letter inside, it was saying, my son, if you find this letter, I want you to know that I've been hiding something from you since you were born. That the person that you thought is your father is not your real father. He was just playing as a stepfather to you. I don't know your father because I was raped and you were born. The second thing is the surname that I'm using, Mncube, is not my surname, is my stepfather's surname. So I don't know my surname, either I don't know your surname. So I'm telling you this because once you grow up, I want you to have an emotional freedom. So when I finished reading that letter, I went to the guy. I thought he was my father, my little sister's father. And he told me the truth. No, my son, your mother didn't have a way to tell you or who is your father, or where is your belonging, because she was raped, I mean, and she doesn't know who is your father, that how you were conceived in such a way that on the 8th month she tried aborting you. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and that resulted me to come out with my feet. You might say I'm a little bit disabled, but I'm not, because I can walk very well or properly,
Yes.
But now my feet are not properly, if you can take a look at them, because I came out with my feet,
Okay.
So she tried aborting me, but that plan failed. You don't know how. Sometimes I used to say, God, it was God's plan.
Yes.
So that's how I found out. And as you see, I wrote my mother's letter that nearly killed me, because I nearly died. I nearly died of rejection. I nearly died of loneliness and emotional breakdown, I lost myself there, because I hated my mother for that. She didn't tell me while she was still alive, because I used to ask my mother when I was young, Mom, who is my father?
Yes.
And Mom will say, your father is Jesus. And then that will be turned into a joke. But inside me, I was hurt, because I can see the way they treat me, these guys who are fathers into my different to these
siblings,
my siblings, I could see the treatment is not the same. And then if I ask you, sir, she will say, no, your father is Jesus.
Wow.
So that way I found that out.
Wow. Whew. But now that you're older, I'm sure you do understand how it was difficult for her to actually tell you this information. Have you forgiven her?
All right. Before we go to the part, have you forgiven her? I can say that I can see it was hard for her, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time is, when I found the letter, I had no understanding, because I was lonely.
Yes.
I was concluding every thought of mine, because when I shared the story with other people who knew my mother, they didn't believe me. In such a way that my mother's sister teared the letter apart, only to find out that she doesn't know her surname also, So there's a lot of confusion in the family,
Yeah.
So I became the worst enemy of my mother's sister, because she knew that I found out the truth, So now that's broke me apart, because when I shared this story with people, when I looked for answers, I had hope that if I can go out and ask some people who my father is, that's what gave me emotional breakdown, because every time when I go look for answers, I came to a dead end every time,
Wow.
I end up being hurt, because I had that expectation, if I do this, for sure maybe I'll get an answer. But at the end of the day, I don't get any answer. So I said to myself, no, instead of wasting time looking for answers that are not there, let me just focus on doing what good, or what will make me a better person.
Make you a better person,
exactly, So now, if it happens, I won't have a problem, because I've dealt with all this issue. And for the fact that my mother is no longer alive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe if she was alive, I'll have maybe known how she feels about that,
Yes.
Because as much as about me, it's also about her.
Yes.
But she's no longer alive. No, I said, no, let me forget, because I've got people who love me. I've got people who support me. Let me just spend my time exerting myself in that love that I get, that I receive from people who are not my family, but who are there to support me.
And I mean, like, you've managed to, turn it around. The odds were totally against you. An orphan, a product of rape, but now you have written this amazing book, and you travel the country, speaking to people, motivating them. So, I'd like to congratulate you on that, because I think we could see some of the times we all have a tendency to look at our situations,
exactly,
and we don't think that we can be better than what we are born into. So you've actually managed to do that. Now, this book, where can people actually go and get the book?
All right, the book is available at Adam's Bookshop.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, I would love to leave my contact details. If not, that's not a problem.
That's not a problem.
Either if they are not around Durban, around KZN, they can maybe contact me on 074 7066 410. 074 7066 410. Before we close, I want to say this to listeners, that what keeps me going, I told myself that if you can't change it, accept it. If you can't accept it, change it. Now, Scelo Mncube couldn't change the fact that he is a product of rape.
Yes.
So I said to myself, accept that.
Yes.
But I cannot accept the fact that I grew up in a poverty state, of life, or in a broken background.
Yes.
So that's why I wake up every day with inspiration of changing that. It's because I cannot accept it. So somebody is listening now, is facing a very big problem or situation.
Yes.
I want to say to that particular person, if you cannot change it, accept it. If you can't accept it, change it.
Wow. I'm really, really proud of you, my brother. I think that, sharing the story is just going to help so many people. And like I said, the fact that you have overcome and you're able to go around and speak to people and motivate people, it is such a blessing. It really, really is. You need to keep it up. The book is called I Was Raped and You Were Born. Scelo Mncube, go out and get this amazing book. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio today.
East Coast Urban.